I think I had heard before that, people were thinking that he wouldn't be the main one. But to tell you the truth, with him being RDJ, makes me wonder whether that's true or not. This should be interesting, though. Let's check this out.
One of the biggest questions that people have had since Robert Downey Jr. was announced as Dr. Doom at San Diego Comic-Con is what exactly is his story going to be? Is he going to really be playing Victor Von Doom, or is he perhaps a Tony Stark variant? Marvel has said that he is indeed Victor Von Doom, but keep in mind they've told us things in the past like, hey, Avengers 5 isn't going to be titled Avengers Endgame. But, of course, it was the title. They'll tell us some white lies if it means keeping us in the dark about what's actually going on with the next movies, which I'm sure people can kind of...
They'll tell us some dark lies, too. Let's not forget about that.
Appreciate, especially the trailer editing that leads us to believe we're going to see one thing when we really see something else, which I noticed they actually kind of did a bit with the Fantastic Four First Steps, and if you've seen the movie, go back and watch the trailers, you'll see the differences. But now, Robert Downey Jr. has seemingly dropped a pretty big hint at what to expect for Doctor Doom's story. And if he is thinking at what we think he's hinting at, this might actually make fans pretty happy, because it would mean that Robert Downey Jr. wouldn't actually be playing the real Doctor Doom. He would, but not really at the same time. He still could be a Tony Stark variant, and I'll explain what this means, and how I think that this might actually work for Avengers Doomsday and Avengers Secret Wars, and possibly even work for the reboot, or the reset, as Kevin Feige called it, for the MCU. Robert Downey Jr.
I wouldn't mind that, because I think most people still see him as Tony Stark, and you just bring him back to play Doctor Doom is kind of weird. Now, we do know that, there is a variant that is Tony Stark, but it would just be really cool to somehow have someone come in that's way more powerful and usurp, you know what I'm saying, and just be really sinister and badass and cool. And I don't care even whether it's a no-name or not. I just want whoever it is to just be the definitive Doom. You get what I'm saying?
Just released this photo online, and there is actually a lot to this photo. It's a copy of the West Coast Avengers issue number 35. We then have a tablet of a song playing on Spotify that's called Change of Scenery by Indio Downey, Robert Downey Jr.'s son. And this could actually be very, very revealing, because in this copy of the West Coast Avengers number 35, it actually involves Doctor Doom's son. And Robert Downey Jr. is playing something by his son in the photo as well, possibly hinting that we could be getting a father-son type of story in Avengers Doomsday.
I didn't even know he had
also
kids.
Could be getting a story where Doctor Doom actually transfers his mind and consciousness to somebody else, possibly a Tony Stark variant. I've seen some theories about this online, of course, but this picture right here might point to that possibly being true. In this issue, Doctor Doom is actually believed to be dead, but the West Coast Avengers run into Doctor Doom. However, it really actually is his son, Christoph. Now, he's his birth son, not his biological son, but at this point in time in this story, Doctor Doom is believed to be dead, and Christoph is ruling Latveria, but he has the memory.
Why is this picture so bad?
And the consciousness of his father transferred inside of him, and he actually does believe that he is Doctor Doom. This could point to the story of Avengers Doomsday being about Doom actually transferring his consciousness to a Tony Stark variant. And if they do this, they might try to actually keep that a secret from us till possibly the very end. And I think that there's a very specific reason that they might do this. And I personally think that it might have to do with the reset of the MCU, which has been confirmed to be happening after Avengers Secret Wars by Marvel Studios president Kevin Feige. So let's dive into the mind transferring part first before we dive into the father-son element of this. Having who I'll classify as the real Victor Von Doom transfer his mind into the mind of a Tony Stark could do a few things. One, you could have Robert Downey Jr. return and play Dr. Doom, or at least he will believe that he is Dr. Doom because he will literally have the mind of Dr. Doom inside of his. It's actually pretty similar to a concept we already have in the MCU, dreamwalking. However, it's a little different because based on what we currently know about dreamwalking from what was explained in Multiverse of Madness, dreamwalking is the magical practice of possessing another counterpart of yourself in the multiverse. It didn't really say anything about possessing another person, only a variant of yourself. But keep in mind, Doctor Doom is an incredibly powerful sorcerer, and at one point in time in the comics, he is the Sorcerer Supreme. That's what makes Doom so strong. He's an incredibly powerful sorcerer, and he is a genius, and his tech is just top-notch. Those combined gives you, quite arguably, the best Marvel villain in history. And
now imagine combining Tony and Doctor Strange into one being.
Again, the picture that Robert Downey Jr. posted does hint at mind transferring. Choosing Tony Stark would be pretty beneficial to Doom because he knows that some of the Avengers out there really trust Tony Stark. And I've seen some pretty crazy theories about this in the past that might actually work. For example, I heard a crazy theory that Doom could transfer his consciousness to the dead body of our Tony Stark. Perhaps he could bring the body back to life by making a deal with Mephisto. Now, of course, the question is, why would he do that when he could simply choose another variant of Tony Stark? But the theory states that since this body of Tony had all of the Infinity Stones as energy flowing through it, it might actually possess an immense amount of power, and that could actually be how Doom becomes a god. He would have incredible power from the Infinity Stones. Now, you could argue that once Doom gets out of that universe, the power of the Infinity Stones might not work since they have to work in their respective universe, but it's just a theory. I'm actually more focused on why Marvel might choose this story. And if it's for the reason I think it is, it's actually pretty clever. They can bring back Robert Downey Jr. this way and technically have him be Doom because his mind would be Doom's mind.
Looks
and you
like
can kind of avoid telling a complete story for Doctor Doom here, which is what a lot of fans were really worried about. We were worried that Doom didn't have enough time to be built up at all. We don't know anything about him right now. We don't know his story in the MCU. And most people think that his story should be built up over years. Well, if Robert Downey Jr.'s Doom isn't the real Doom, then you could actually bring the real Doom into the new MCU once we have the reset. So we go through Doomsday, we go through Secret Wars, and it's revealed that it actually was just Doom possessing somebody else, essentially. Then, at the end of Secret Wars, they could possibly reveal the real Doom, and this could be a different actor completely. Because, let's face it, I don't really think Robert Downey Jr. is going to...
Someone explain this cover to me. I've never seen this. Why is there a Dr. Doom mask on Wolverine? Someone help me out here. And Havoc, right? I can't see who that is.
To continue to play Doctor Doom once the MCU is reset. But we are going to need a Doctor Doom. They can't just do a 1 or a 2 and done with Doctor Doom just for Doomsday and Secret Wars. He's one of the biggest Marvel villains ever, and he's not always a villain. He has a very complicated relationship with a lot of the heroes, specifically the Fantastic Four. So this would allow us to have a pretty killer Doctor Doom story, because again, it would be Doctor Doom, it would be his mind. We'd have this killer story for Avengers Doomsday and Avengers Secret Wars, but at the very end, after they defeat Doom, they could reveal,
that's a cool picture.
Was
I like that.
kind of Doom. Doom was in control, and it was his doing, but it wasn't physically him. The real Doom is still out there in this new universe. Because again, after Secret Wars, probably at the very end of the movie, the MCU will reset. We'll get a new universe. A new universe that has more potential than we've ever seen before, because now Marvel Studios can use the X-Men, the Fantastic Four, the Avengers, everybody in the same universe, and Doctor Doom needs to be in that universe. So this could be a great way to introduce Robert Downey Jr. as Doom, but then have a new actor play Doom after the reset, which I think is what a lot of people want. And from there, we can take the time to really go over Doctor.
Looks like a Pedro Pascal shirt.
Childhood in that area. Talk about his parents' deaths. Talk about
Robert Downey Jr. rocking the Pedro shirt.
From the Hell Realm. Him building a device to try and communicate with his dead mother that ends up exploding and scarring his face. We could go through all of that because in the new universe we'll have time. So this might be an interesting way to do that. But as far as the whole father-son thing goes, I don't think we're actually going to see Doom's adopted son, Kristoff, in the movie. I actually think it probably has to do with some plot leaks that we've heard for Avengers Doomsday that say Doctor Doom kidnaps Franklin Richards, the son of Sue Storm and Reed Richards. I think the father-son type of deal might actually refer to Reed and Franklin. Or possibly Doom kind of trying to shape Franklin as his own son, simply to do his bidding. I think this is most likely the case, and I didn't want to look over the whole father-son theme because Robert Downey Jr. made it very clear to play that song by his son on top of a copy of West Coast Avengers number 35, where it's Doctor Doom's son as Doctor Doom, not Victor himself. But go ahead and let me know what you think.
It means something, Warren. It definitely means something. Woof woof. Make sure you get over to Cosmic Warner, subscribe, tell them Tyrone Magnus sent you. I personally hope that Tony isn't, that Robert Downey Jr. isn't him, because it's weird. I'd prefer him be a variant and not be the real Doctor Doom. It doesn't make any sense to me, 10 million subscribers.